Well, it's another episode of Beyond Game Day. Thank you very much indeed for joining us. As promised, we try and bring you the big hitters, and as far as Game Day proper is concerned, we bring them down here and have a chat to them post our interviews. I'm joined by Hugh Page, former selector at Cricket South Africa. Convener of selector. I always get confused.
I was convener of the under-19 and SA schools, and then just a normal selector with the national team.
Yeah, but he was the selector at the point. He's the one that did the register. Mark the register. Yeah, get that one. Don't get that one. Hugh, thank you very much indeed for joining us first and foremost here on Beyond Game Day. I think maybe let's start off, get that out of the way. You just come out of a measly week.
Yeah, very.
Vata and I sat here a couple of days ago, our editor at eNCA. He look, it wasn't nice. It wasn't probably the best week of sports in South Africa because of the expectations.
Well, Tubbs, thanks very much for having me on your show. But yeah, I mean, I think every South African would be disappointed. And obviously, there's such expectation with this team. This team has done so well. When I say this team, the Proteas, in the last year or so, I was fortunate enough to be at Lord's when we won the Test Championship. That was probably one of the best sporting occasions, and I had a group of 43 guys that were with us, and it was probably the best sporting week I've ever had.
I'm never going to let. We're going to. The results, we lost. No. Everyone knows we're out of the World Cup against New Zealand. How was it?
It was unbelievable. We went there. The guys had spent a lot of money to get there, and I thought as long as we could compete, at least just compete, I'll be happy. We were playing against a much fancied Aussie side. So, there wasn't a great amount of expectation. And talk about chokers or whatever you want to,
cupcakes. Let's talk about the
cupcakes. You could probably direct that at the Australian team because, they were such fancy team to win the Test Championship. And, and it seesawed the whole way through. And certainly in the day 3 and 4, it was all South Africa. And I mean, Temba and Aiden just batted so brilliantly on that third afternoon. We batted them out of the game. And, to be there, I was with Jabir Stradham, a former player as well, a good mate of mine. And he hardly slept that night. He was having, he thought he was playing.
Look, most of us thought we were playing in the studio. We all practiced those shots.
He was playing all those shots, and we only had, I think it was 78 to get on that last day. And, we had all these wickets in hand, 8. Foregone conclusion. But, geez, I tell you what, the South Africans have got got great memories. For us to get through that and win it as convincingly as we did, it was just special.
Yeah.
Now, fast forward to this World Cup, as things progressed, as we got nearer to the World Cup itself, we realized that we had a very, very good side and we had a very, very good chance of winning this thing. And as I said on air earlier, I said, unfortunately in T20, there is a luck factor involved, and you just got to hope that everything goes your way. And I just felt the toss, and that's not to take anything away from New Zealand, but the toss was crucial.
Yeah,
that wicket was sticking a little bit, but I thought we could have batted better. I mean, it's easy after the fact, but we did well to get to 167, and I thought, we got a chance of defending that.
In fact, I always thought that score. In fact, at one point I said 146 was par. I mean, yes, there was a 190 or something scored on that wicket a couple of days earlier, but I also 146 was par. Yes, we started off badly, but we did kind of put it together towards the back end. But then that would have worked on condition that our bowlers then came to the party. The all-round performance just was not there. Fine, skip that. The one concern I had, Hugh, the only real test during this World Cup was that Afghanistan game.
Yeah.
And shame on us to actually call that a test, where we shouldn't have had a test against Afghanistan. And I've always had this fear that I'd rather lose one then than lose one when it mattered.
Spot on. And it's funny how, this word choker or cupcake or whatever you want to call it now has come through. Guys have got short memories. If anything, we needed the Bulls to get through that. And we did. We at Seasword, we had 2 super overs, and unbelievable. Yeah, and to get through that was special. And people, forgot that. That it's all about. And South Africans, they're passionate, and they don't like losing.
Too passionate sometimes.
They don't like losing. I've got an English son-in-law who lives in London, and shame. And I try not to talk rugby to him now.
I was just about to say, he must just keep quiet. They're getting hammered in Six Nations. And they're playing this weekend as well, so he must just pipe down.
No, the poor and I just said to him, when you come out to South Africa, I said, look at these guys. When you look at us, the South Africans, generally, there's very few small little acts. We're basically bunch. A nation of big guys, strong people, and that's what you're competing with day in and day out. And there are hundreds of these guys around. Yeah.
So when you look at this team then with the Proteas, they've got a lot to overcome. This is going to sting for a long while to come, especially because they wanted to do well because of the hosting of the World Cup alongside Zimbabwe, our neighbors, and Namibia. And Zimbabwe did fairly well. Very impressed with them at this World Cup. Namibia, maybe not so much. I think they've still got a lot of work to do. But overall, all is not lost. There's still some cricket before that World Cup. It's just how Shukri gets his boys over it.
Sure, I think there will be hurt, and it will be around for a while. But, we've all played enough cricket to understand that you've got to move on. You can't dwell on the past. You've got to look forward. And we've got a lot to look forward to. There's some young guys, coming through. We saw in the SA20. And I think that SA20 has been the saviour of South African cricket. I mean, I don't want to get controversial.
No, you're 100%.
But, to pick teams like that, there's no, it's purely on merit, and it's on form, and the guys that are the best team around, they play on match day, and we've got an international influence as well, which is great. Suddenly when you're playing with a Joe Root, or you're playing with a Bairstow, or these kind of guys, the benefit for the guys who are not playing nationally but the local cricketers is massive, and that's what we had in the old days in the Currie Cup. We used to have quite a few Westerns. We had English players. We had a couple of Aussies, and being in that sort of company in the dressing room is so important. And that's what I loved about the SA20. And I think it's now the second biggest local competition in the world. And you've got international players wanting to play.
I was just about to say, in fact, the fact that you've got internationals wanting to come here, it's a marker of how good your league is and what you've got to offer.
Well, I mean, who's going to turn down an opportunity to come and live in South Africa for 6 weeks or 8 weeks, Cape Town, and play a high standard of cricket? And it's go, but it's you bring your family. The South Africans in a typical South African manner. They look after the visitors. Everyone wants to play in that thing. Hey?
Yeah. Let's speak about Hugh. Mr. Hugh Page himself. I mean, as I said in my intro, long time, servant of the game, selector, former first-class cricketer yourself. How is it? I mean, what you been up to?
Interesting,
Because I was looking for you on the socials. Looking for you in the socials, looking for a picture. I wanted to do a digital card. There's one picture, only one picture, and I think you're getting a blazer put on.
Oh, geez, and it wasn't a great picture either. I'm glad
your profile.
No, it's funny. You should have looked in GQ. Normally in GQ you would have found pages of it. No, Tabs. After I sort of got out of cricket, I've been quite low key, concentrating on family and work, and. Work-wise, we've been involved in the property industry, and it's been tough the last 15 years. Certainly in Joburg, property prices have been going the wrong direction, and the cost of building was going another. So I was busy with property development. So at the end of it, it really didn't look very good about 2.5 years ago as far as house or property, and particularly the residential market. So we got involved in the water business, and I'm really excited about that. So we are doing off-grid water solutions for large consumers of water, so industrial and alike. And what we do is we in a lot of those instances, there's a lot of wastewater. So we
I was
take,
just about to say, I mean, something we do here a lot in eNCA, especially the news desk, the stories we cover around the water, whether it's the leaks around, the streets we drive on almost on a daily basis.
So companies, that are reliant on water for their day-to-day business, and we found a niche in the abattoir space. So we treat water that's full of blood, and we reprocess it and put it back in the system. So typically, a lot of guys are using they're discharging probably as much as up to 90% of the water they put through the factory. They discharge it into the wastewater system, and it's gone. And with the pressure and the security of water, we provide those large consumers water security, basically.
Okay.
And we know that water is under pressure. It's a precious commodity, and the infrastructure has been neglected for a long time. And if you're reliant on water and you're not making provision to put a water solution together, you could well be out of business in years to come.
Yeah, in fact, a lot of, not even out of business. I mean, the country, the stability of just water. I mean, you always heard these sayings that the next world war will be over things like water, and you think it's a joke when they say it.
No, you do.
When you see the reality of it, whether it's just down the road, I think Firetown area, whether it's here in the northern suburbs, the call for water is big.
Oh no, it's huge, and it's a difficult thing. People. We've experienced load shedding and power shortages and so on. But as far as power is concerned, you can make a plan. You can put solar and whatever if you're in a position to do that. But you can always do without that. You can get batteries or whatever. But water, exactly. Water is a problem, and you want to see communities get upset, deprive them of water, and that's the sad thing. And a lot of it is there's a demand for water, and it is increasing, and infrastructure is falling apart. So it's difficult, and communities, it's almost it's a catch-22. They then have to truck water into communities, and people have to go and fetch water, and that's the last thing you want people to do. I mean, that's in the old South Africa, those sort of things. In fact, in the old South Africa, they probably had better water supply than they have currently.
Yes, you might have to travel 10 kilometers to go get it, but it was guaranteed, because even now a water tanker could drive here after half an hour or so. If half of it is not sold to somebody on the way there, you still might not get it.
Well, I mean, there's a water mafia as well that's taking place. They vandalize supply, and then they supply the water via tanker.
Before my producer Ayub, who normally sits behind the camera, tells me, but what about the cricket?
The cricket. No, but the cricket is great.
But first, for our viewers, your company, the water company.
It's called Unique Aqua.
Unique Aqua.
And
online they can get you.
We online, and all you have to do is, my WhatsApp address or whatever. You can just get hold of me, and we would love to talk to you.
Now hopefully our viewers will.
Thanks for that. I appreciate that.
So finally, because I'm going to let you go. I know I've still got bulletins upstairs to go and do as well. Under 18 level, former selector. You've seen through the national team's former selector. First, played first class cricket in the country. All is not lost, and I want to put into context the pipeline, as we heard earlier. We're speaking to Ngabe as well. There's so much going for South Africa. If there's one thing that we should get right, or we should leave behind and look ahead, and I put this in context, you're now going to we've got an official women's game.
Which is growing, exponentially.
The juniors, both the boys and girls, are doing very well. For a South African sitting there and saying, I don't hear anything about cricket until the next one, what do you say to them?
I'm so pleased that guys like Naba are being pulled back into the system, because for some reason, some of those kind of guys were being neglected. Naba's got cricket running through his veins, Naba. Naba. And, when we have cricket discussions, you want to have people who have been involved in the game a long time. They have to have a certain pedigree, I'm sorry to say. And those are the kind of guys that form such an important role in identifying those guys at an early age. And then they make sure that they map their futures in cricket. Pipeline. And, you know, I mean, I was involved in the school system, and I actually loved those days because, you know, the school system in this country is better than anywhere else in the world. And, the beauty is about it is the cricketers coming from all walks of life, from all kinds of communities. And you just got to make sure you provide the opportunity for them and make sure that they have every chance of playing for the Proteas. And that will, you know, we've seen it in the women's cricket, you know, we've seen it in women's rugby. Yeah. You know, you start creating an interest and a love and a passion, which this SA20 has done. You know, every guy wants to play for one of the SA20 sides, you know, and we got to make that dream a reality. You know? Yeah,
but so, also that coordination down at grassroots.
Oh,
I say
absolutely.
Grassroots and schools.
Yeah.
Schools, yes, are good, but I think the one thing that I miss from when I was in school, we used to have PE days, literally physical education days, which were mandated. Yeah. There used to be an inspector, whether it was from government inspector, that come there and make sure that everyone's taking part in PE. Yeah. And government took an interest in school sports, and that's why. And I hate comparing then and now. Yeah. But you had a buy-in earlier than that. Now, if you're not in that. I'll call it Model C school, or you're very unlikely to want to pursue that sport post-school.
Well, there was a guy called Greg Hayes who did amazing work in development, and particularly in the rural areas in the Eastern Cape, more the border region. Yeah. And he was passionate about it, could speak Xhosa fluently. And he brought through Mackay and Tini, he brought through Mfuneka and Gum, those kind of guys. And he sort of retired out of cricket. And he went back to those same areas, and they had appointed people to run it. And 3 years later, they hadn't seen anyone since he had left. You know, those kind of situations were sad because it had huge potential and it lost all the momentum.
Yeah, I was speaking to Jeffrey Diana a couple of days ago. He's trying to do something similar back then in the Eastern Cape, because we know now he's coaching as well. Yeah. So he's trying to, again, the people who've been there, giving back to the sport.
Well, Jeffrey's a classic point case in point, should I say?
Yeah. Hugh Page, any final words before we let you go?
No, thanks, Tabu. Let's just hope that cricket continues to go from strength to strength. If you think about it, once you get a buy-in from the masses, which we're seeing now, we go to watch a SA20, the demographics in the crowd, for me, I feel inspired by it, because that's where the potential is. We've seen it with rugby. Yeah. All the guys that are coming through, when I go and watch Kes play, you know, at the end of the game, I think, and it's not about that, but I think.
But the one thing we've, and I don't want to bring it up, but I'm going to, the one thing that we've actually dropped is that Q word. Yeah. We're no longer about quota player.
Yeah. That's the thing.
It's totally lost with this generation. Yeah. I mean, when we started in the industry 15, 20 years ago, it was always about, let's get it. And I'm sure you had headaches as selector.
Well, that was always my point, is that, you know, when it starts becoming natural and people are included for the right reasons and they're not there because they have to be there, suddenly then you see these things blossom. And that's what's happening. Rugby, I can't see. I mean, I think our gap is just going to get bigger between us and the rest, because the more African and coloured people we have playing the game, the better we're going to be at it.
Yeah, and diversity as well, because
exactly.
It's a family. It becomes a family thing.
And I see people going to the cricket and they're having expression, a jawl, you know. Yeah, so it's not just
we say
cricket.
Always, you know.
And that's what I love. And to have every game sold out. How can you not see this game moving forward?
Yeah, but the best format of this game, I think you and I will agree on this one. The best format of cricket is still Test.
Test, because that's all about ability, you know, and it's cricket and the understanding of the game, when to attack, when to defend, all those kind of things.
That's why I had the FOMO when you said you had lost. I'm like,
no. I mean, as it turned out, there were so many people that I got messed around a little bit, so tickets were last minute, but. I mean, there were so many people who said to me that they have huge regrets in not having gone. I mean, it was special. Yeah. I mean, I was in tears, to be honest with you, on the third day when I saw Aiden Markram and Temba walking off. I haven't heard an ovation like that. and mates of mine who's senior, I can't mention the organization, but they have all the facts. They said that there was a greater attendance at that World Test final than at the final, at the Ashes series at Lord's the year before.
Whoa.
And off the record, he said, and the alcohol quota was 3 times what it was in that same England series. So he said the South Africans brought a new dimension to the cricket, a new atmosphere. They're not used to people singing, and it was. You could be proud to be South African being there. That's what I loved about it.
Yeah, I'm not going to say anything after that. No point in saying so. Hopefully they go on and defend the title, because there are points up on grabs now. The series currently underway worldwide. Hugh Page, thank you very much indeed for joining us here on Beyond Game Day.
Thanks,
lovely
Thabiso.
to have your insights. And it's good to hear that you're still kicking it. Although, when I say kicking, I'm not meaning dead.
Kicking the bucket.
Even outside the game, you're still keeping busy.
Very much so. And I go, I often go to watch, I'm an old Kes boy, so and I go and watch there, and you see teams there. There's just cricket's getting better, and I love watching young guys play cricket, because that's the future of our country.
Yeah. That's it for this episode of Beyond Game Day. Thank you very much indeed for joining us. Next weekend, in fact, before next weekend, Vach and I are going to come back during the week sometime. We're going to unpack the week that was. This weekend, a lot of Nedbank Cup happening, football. All the big boys are not there, but there are some teams. Could be shocker. You maybe have even 4 KZN teams in the Nedbank Cup final, or semi-finals anyway, but there's Rugby Six Nations are hoping the Poms get pummeled again. Then just look forward to throughout the weekend. So do stay with us, and thank you very much indeed, as I said, for joining us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Much appreciated, brother.
Thank you, Thabiso.
Cool.